I asked an AI robot one of the biggest questions in fish keeping, and today we're going to talk about what he said, what I think they got right, and some of the things I got wrong. So this one's really exciting for me. I've never tried anything like this before, so make sure you stay tuned. Let's get right into it. What's up guys, JJ here, and today we're going to talk about one of the biggest questions, biggest topics in fish keeping. It's water changes. When do I water change? How do I know when it's time? How much water do I change? And even how do I water change? And for some reason, this is like the most controversial topic in fish keeping. I remember when I was starting out, I would watch different videos on YouTube about what people say, and they all had different answers. When you get new products, you get a new filter at the store, and it has an answer on how much you should water change and how often, and not everybody's right. And that's not to say that everybody's wrong, but there are some different answers out there, and we're gonna break it down. So let's get to what ChatGPT had to say. Changing the water in an aquarium is an essential task to maintain a healthy and balanced environment for your fish and other aquatic life. The frequency of water changes depends on various factors, including the size of the aquarium, number and size of fish, the type of filtration system, and the overall water quality. Actually, ChatGPT, you knocked that part out of the park. I think it's something a lot of people overlook, but aquariums and fish keeping is so much to the individual setup, so very good that we acknowledge that the size of your tank, the number of fish you have, and the size of the fish you keep in it, how often you feed even, plays a big role. So we do have to acknowledge that anytime we talk about anything, because there is not one right answer. As a general guideline, it's recommended to perform regular partial water changes about 10 to 20% every 2 to 4 weeks. This helps remove accumulated waste, excess nutrients, and other pollutants, replenishing necessary minerals, and maintaining stable water parameters. Okay, that's about what the back of the filter cartridge box would say. Change like 20% once a month, and if you're just keeping a couple of guppies, you're in good shape. So the part I really like in this section that not everybody talks about is replacing like the nutrients and minerals that are in the water. Because water is not just H2O, your drinking water, your tap water. Your water does have different minerals that you have to replace for the health of the fish, or if you have plants, the health of the plants as well. So fertilizers aren't just adding like straight nitrates, straight nitrogen, they're adding things like potassium, magnesium, zinc, iron. All of those things do have to be replaced in your fish tank. As someone who keeps African cichlids and snails, actually snails are a big one too, I need hard water that's very mineral rich. So even if my parameters that come up on the test strip are good, low nitrates, no ammonia, I still have to look out for the hardness and mineral content of the water, or like the shells of my snails or my shrimp or my crawfish are going to be negatively affected. Okay, next one. It's important to monitor the water conditions in your specific aquarium to determine the ideal frequency and quantity of water changes. Regularly test the water parameters such as ammonia, nitrite, nitrate, pH, and temperature using appropriate test kits. If you notice any significant fluctuations or if the levels are outside the acceptable range of your fish, more frequent water changes may be necessary. Okay, again, we're totally on point. Computer, you're smarter than half the fish tubers out there. A lot of people are not acknowledging some of these things. I'm just going to be honest. So testing for water parameters, ammonia, nitrite, nitrate, those are your big three. The other ones, if you're a beginner, you're just starting out, that's probably less of a concern when you're talking about GH and KH and pH and all the H's and other things you have to keep up with. So your big three, when you're watching your water parameters, are ammonia, nitrite, and nitrate. And if you already have fish, hopefully you've looked up what cycling the aquarium is, because ammonia is bad, but ammonia turns into nitrite, which is less bad, and then nitrite turns into nitrate, which is not that bad. So any ammonia, you've really got to be on top of it. You need to be doing regular water changes, and usually it's just a new tank that's not established. But if you do start seeing ammonia in an older tank, then you have to think about what did you do, what have you changed, what have you added that's starting to create ammonia. So do you have something dying in there? Have you been feeding too much? Are your fish getting a lot bigger? So now you have to do more water changes, and you've got to figure out how to get more beneficial bacteria going. So those are things to think about when you're talking about ammonia. Same with nitrite, although it's less toxic than ammonia. If you have a tank with nitrite, you need to be really on top of your water changes. I'm talking like changing some water every day or two until you figure out how to get that down, most of the time. And then nitrates, every tank should have a little bit of nitrate in it. If you have zero nitrate, it's your fish aren't pooping, or your tank is not cycled and it's actually still ammonia. Now, if you guys aren't super sure about the nitrogen cycle and you don't know what I'm talking about with ammonia, nitrite, and nitrate, I have made videos about this. Subscribe to the channel, scroll down, and you can find that for sure. Maybe I'll link it in a comment or the description. Alright, next. Observe the behavior and health of your fish. If you notice signs of stress, such as decreased appetite, lethargy, or poor water clarity, it could indicate the need for a water change. Keep in mind overfeeding, excessive waste production, and overcrowding can also increase the frequency of necessary water changes. Again, on point. For everybody who's looking for one answer on how much water to change and how often to do it, it is all dependent on your stocking levels, your plants, if you have plants, how often you feed, how much you feed, the size of your fish. So there is not one right answer. Can't stress that enough. But the other thing I think they do a good job of is talking about the behavior of your fish. So if your fish aren't eating suddenly, and they have been eating pretty regularly, that's going to be a problem for you, right? Or if they're looking slow, or here's one that's like the biggest indicator that they didn't say. If your fish are not normally at the top of the water, and suddenly they're at the top of the water looking like they're gasping for air up there, big problem. Something's changed in your water quality, whether it's an ammonia spike or low oxygen levels or something. If you see fish that are at the top of the water and they're not usually there and they're going like this, you've got a problem, and you should probably change water right away and figure it out later, because you never know how long you're going to have. Remember to treat tap water with a dechlorinator or water conditioner before adding it to the aquarium to remove harmful chlorine and chloramines. Be cautious not to disturb the beneficial bacteria in the filter media or disrupt the natural balance of the aquarium while performing water changes. Okay, that's a good one. I mean, it's pretty simple. Anybody at PetSmart can tell you that. If you're getting a new tank, get some dechlorinator. However, I don't use it. And the reason I don't use it is because I'm on a well system and I don't treat it with anything. So I know it doesn't have any chlorine. It just goes from the earth to my tap. And I know there's a lot of fish keepers like that. A lot of well water down here in Florida. King of DIY, I'm pretty sure, is on well water, so he wouldn't dechlorinate his tanks either. But if you're on city, yeah, definitely get your dechlorinator and your water conditioner and treat that new water. Oh, and a lot of people have asked me when to do it. Like, people talked about putting water in buckets and letting it sit for a while. That's really extra. Unless you have like the most sensitive fish in the world, you don't have to worry about doing all that. So when you do your water change, you can change the water, read the directions on the bottle of the dechlorinator, and just dump the cap in. That little bit of chlorine isn't gonna like kill all your fish. Actually, the reason you need dechlorinator, and I need to look at the science for this, but what it would probably affect the most is your beneficial bacteria, those little guys that are eating the ammonia and turning it into nitrite, and then into nitrate. Because if you have chlorinated water, that's going to start crashing your cycle. Okay, overall, staying attentive to water conditions and needs of your aquarium inhabitants will help you determine appropriate schedule for water changes and maintain a healthy aquatic environment. Honestly, that's pretty solid. 100%. I don't think there was any misinformation there. And they acknowledged a lot of things that a lot of people don't. Because the aquarium companies know that people want a single answer, and the fact is, it all depends on your aquarium and what you have in it. So solid job, AI. So to wrap it up, guys, is there one answer for how much and when you should change your water? No, absolutely not. It's completely based on what you keep and how you keep it. And I think the AI really does a good job of acknowledging that it's different for everybody. Because the companies, like the filter cartridge companies, will tell you change your filter cartridge once a month and change this much water, and it's just not the same for everybody. So if you were looking for that answer in this video, I'm sorry I told you the truth. You just want to keep your ammonia near zero, nitrite near zero, which shouldn't be a problem if you had your tank going for a while, and keep your nitrates from getting out of control. Now there's other factors like your hardness and mineral content, but that's for another video. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Peace!